Welcome to Our Heritage. We've got a different program for you today, and let me tell you how this all got started. The museum is planning an entertainment in Coffee County exhibit in January, and a group of us ladies were sitting around talking about what we used to do in the summertime. And every one of us remembered the bookmobile. And I thought, well, why don't we have bookmobiles today? And I found out we do. The first one was in 1857 in northwest England, and it was a horse and buggy, and the lady toured the countryside loaning books to people to read. The first one in South Carolina was 1904. But there is the neatest thing on the internet where this ex-soldier veteran had taken an old army tank, and when he comes down the road, he's got the rubber tires on it instead of the metal treads. And when he stops in front of the nursing homes and the places he goes, the sides of the tank turn down, and there are the books. And I just thought, this is now in Chicago. They have them all over the United States still. And that where they may not just go to country places or whatever, they still are an outreach for library programs. And I'm thinking, you know, what a cool thing. And I'm so sorry that we don't have something like that now. But we're going to remember those days today with my guest. With me is Miss Eleanor Sammons and her daughter Beth Kitchens. You're looking at almost 3 generations of people that knew about the bookmobile in Coffee County. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
I'm so glad you're here. You worked on the bookmobile with Ira Sykes. I don't ever remember y'all not being there. How long were you on that bookmobile?
Probably about 35 years. The last few years that I worked, the bookmobile was not in service any longer. There wasn't the need for it like there was when I first started. So it kind of played out.
Yes. Well, this is one of my pet peeves, and you folks out there know I have a bunch of them. The joy of seeing somebody roll up to your neighborhood just kind of drew you to it. And I don't think like all the communities have little libraries now. The kids don't read like they used to. They have too much other stuff going on with iPhones and pads and computers that they don't enjoy the book like we used to. Of course, my sister said she checked out books, but she doesn't remember reading any of them. So I don't doubt that a bit. So what communities in Coffee County did y'all go to?
Well, we went to all the rural communities in Coffee County, Jeff Davis County, and Atkinson County. Douglas, Coffee County was the region, but headquarters, but Atkinson and Jeff Davis was in our region.
Right. And did y'all have I thought y'all came every week, and Mom said no, they didn't come every week.
No, the bookmobile schedule was about once a month.
Okay. But I remember at West Green, the first time I went, it was at the big oak tree up there by the Methodist Parsonage, right by what used to be Fletcher's store. And then they'd come to my house sometimes because we had that U-shaped driveway. And what I remember, y'all knew what we wanted to read before y'all got there.
Pretty much. We learned what people liked, and of course we had a good assortment. And the adults in particular, we learned the authors they liked to read, and we would make sure we carried them, what they liked.
What time of day did y'all get started? That always amazed me.
Well, we started out about 9 o'clock in the morning and made our rounds for that particular day.
And Iris Sykes was on there with you.
I started working with Iris Sykes, and
she's a mess.
she taught me a lot, and I still remember things that she would say, and it's always something kind of funny, but true to life too, and good information. And she was just so good to me. There was a lot of difference in our ages, but that never mattered at all to us. We just loved one another and had a good time, and she she taught me, she said one day, she said, you remember, every day you have some fun. We'll get our work done, but we're going to have some fun.
Makes
And
work
we
better.
did.
I talked to her daughter not long ago on this program, and she was giving us the history of Long Hill Church, and you couldn't mention Long Hill Church at all without Iris Sykes,
Right.
because she was like, my grandmother ran the Baptist Church in West Green, and she ran the Long Hill
Right.
Methodist Church. I mean, there's just some
That's
women that push that, and she was a dynamo. She had endless energy
Oh, she did, yeah.
and loved to talk better than anybody I know.
And was so witty.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it just came natural with her.
And it was, sometimes it'd be a very dry, and some people wouldn't catch it, but I noticed it. When did y'all stop going to Jeff Davis County? Was that early on or later on that they came out of the region? district?
Well, that's been since I retired.
Oh, okay. So before,
So, all the years that I worked, we went to Jeff Davis.
did you have any incidences that were unique in any of these little communities?
Well, in one in particular, down at the Sales community here in Coffee County, there was a little store there.
Yeah.
And some child that came to meet us there had a goat, and the goat was a pet. And the goat got on the bookmobile.
Oh, no.
And the goat didn't want to get off the book. And I always wished I had a camera that day, but I didn't. But I just remember that goat getting on there and loving the bookmobile. Maybe he wanted to eat a book.
Maybe it would have been just one. That's true, that's true. Was there anybody else that worked with y'all? I never remembered anybody but you two.
Well, after Miss Sykes retired, I worked with Marie Smith,
Yes, Emery.
Smith's mother, and also I worked some with Evelyn McDonald,
I've forgotten her. I had totally forgotten her.
and also Maxine Dean Hamilton. So I worked with several different ladies that I worked with also in the library.
Right, right. We,
But the longest I worked with Miss Sykes.
Miss Iris, yes. The ladies and I were talking when we were discussing the bookmobile, and our memories of it was that it was like meeting a friend, because when you walked in, they knew your name. Like the Cheers TV on the program, you know, everybody at the bar, everybody knew your name. At the bookmobile, everybody knew your name. They knew I wanted biographies. They knew Joanne just wanted a thin book. I mean, it was just those kind of things that made it personal. And it's not just libraries that have missed out on that now. It's the whole society. The personal contact is not always there. Beth, do you have any memories of riding with your mom?
I do. In the summers, we would do the reading club every
Right.
summer, because,
Yes.
you know, that's what you had to do. Your mom worked at the library. You read books all summer, which I wouldn't take nothing for that now. But I remember going out with you and Miss Iris when I was young, and then over the years with some of the other ladies. And that was really a neat experience, because I would help her load some of the books on their library, on the bookmobile, and she would know
Yeah.
who was going to read what. And people would come on there and check them out, you know, and it was just a lot of fun. I'd sit back there in the back with the books, I think. And then I remember one time you took the bookmobile to, when Kristen was at the preschool at First Methodist, and the children from the preschool come on the bookmobile.
Right, and I read them a story.
Yes, you
about
did.
how
Yes.
See, I think that's where we're still missing the boat. Sometimes we don't catch them early, to the joy and the
Right.
amazement of access to books.
Oh, I remember them thinking it was a treat going on
Oh,
a big,
yeah.
like a big bus, you know,
Yeah.
to hear a story and check out a book.
Well, as an educator retired, I can tell you that the kids, anything that gets them out of the normal routine is a joy and a treat.
Right.
And it's always good for somebody different to read to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like you read to those, because when I volunteer at West Green School, sometimes they'll say, you need to read to so-and-so, and I thought, oh, Lord, 'cause I was high school. I was not elementary oriented. So it was hard for me to get into that. Now, I'm pretty good with everybody but pre-K. I'm not a good pre-K reader.
one thing in particular I wanted to mention, Beth was talking about the summer reading program.
Oh, yes.
The teachers in the elementary school, they would really encourage the children. We would give them a schedule
Right.
of the bookmobile in each community when we'd be there and on what day. And then before, at the end of school, they would start encouraging their students to meet the bookmobile and read. And, you know, how important it was for them to keep reading during the summer and how much it would help them when they started back in the fall. And that really paid off because in a lot of these communities, we would take a little folding table and a chair, and one would sit up outside and one would be inside checking out, and while the other one was checking in.
Right.
You know, and sometimes there would be a line of children,
Right.
and we'd have to maybe let 2 or 3 on at the time, and then they'd get their books and go, and others come on. And but I remember when we would just have a lot of children waiting to get books.
I wonder today, since it's been so long since any of them have seen anything like that, what an amazing thing for them to pull up in their neighborhood now and let them get a book. I just think that would be wonderful.
That would be.
Be absolutely wonderful. But when I was doing this research, one of the ladies that is doing one for, she calls it senior citizen homes, but it's like nursing homes, halfway, you know, where you need some help, and then just retirement villages. And she'd take magazines and newspapers and everything around for them. And I just thought that was just so neat.
Well, you know, we had a lot of adult readers too.
Oh, yes.
And in the last days on the bookmobile, most of our patrons were older adults. And I had some dear friends that I looked forward to going because, you know, they were telling things and talking about things that was so interesting to me. And sometimes I might stay a little longer than I should have. We just get started talking, you know, and it did them a lot of good to have somebody come and talk to. And I knew what authors they all liked, what types of books they liked. And I'd make sure, you know, that I would go in the library if need be and comb the shelves, as we called it, to get what they would like to read.
I just think it's something that you need to experience.
I was telling a friend of mine this morning, I have got flowers in my yard right now that patrons gave me back then.
Isn't that amazing?
You know, and they carried over and multiplied.
That's a cherished
It is.
memory.
Yeah.
It really is. That's special.
It is.
That's special. Anything else you want to, any other thing points out in your head?
Well, I don't know of anything in particular. I miss those days. It was something to look forward to because I would see different people every day and hear different stories. And just have a good time. It was a good time.
When our group was planning this exhibit was talking, they talked about the community spirit we felt, because everything revolved around the community. Like at West Green, it was the churches or the schools, and in the summertime, it was a tobacco barn where you were working, or it was a bookmobile. And sometimes I wouldn't see some of my friends until the bookmobile came.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like a reunion, a gathering or something. It was wonderful. I miss
Good
those
times.
days. And sometimes I think we need to go back every once in a while just to shock the world and say, this is the way it ought to be.
Yeah, it would be nice.
And you know, I think they would like it.
I know they would. I know, especially the little kids. They're more receptive to normal things, and yes, they can operate a smartphone, but they also love a book.
Yeah.
Just when I volunteered at West Green, when those pre-K kids get to take a book home,
Right.
you would have thought they had won